£30 worth of filament into about £10,000 worth of product.
If you have to ask, you can't afford it, more than you can afford, pal. And he sent it back and said, hey, I think you have an error on your invoice. But at the same time, if they want something easier, hey, call us. Ring it. I don't care. Simple as that. And it works. Although we do get phone calls for 2D printing a lot. That's always the funny one. Oh, can you print out blueprints? Can you print out a resume? I've never saad no to a resume. Like, come on, if you're calling someone at 2 o'clock
it feels a bit mean to say no to a resume.
I've never said no to a resume.
Like, they're coming to you to print a resume, like, they need it.
Yeah, like, it's because it's always late at night, too. And it's like, well, my printer's got some dirty wheels on it, but, like, as long as you don't care, you just need some resumes printed. Yeah, send me the resume, give me, like, 10 minutes, and come out to the address on Google, and I'll give them to you. And I never charge for that.
So this actually brings up quite an interesting question, which is the difference between why get a quote, like when it's an RFQ type thing, you go to the website, there's no price, versus when there's a price available.
That's a good one.
Why should people choose one over the other? So
because we're a service business, everything that we do is custom, so the nature of our work is that we can't really publicize prices other than saying, hey, this is our hourly rate for design, this is our rates for printing and things like that. But you could also argue, Grant, you could have one of those auto quoters on your website where people could upload files to them and get a quote. Well,
I see it with also just products, though. Like, you can go to... it's either Markforged or Ultimaker. One of their machines does not have a price point.
Where it's request quotes. So that is deliberately there to keep people that are price conscious from buying it, right? It's like, if you have to ask, you can't afford it, more than you can afford, pal. Ferrari. Again, a Fast and Furious reference that Jacob won't get because he's never watched even the first one. I would argue that those are there because the customers that care about solutions don't care about price generally. And the ones that care about the price wouldn't buy it if it was 10 grand, so it's easier to hide the price. But what it also does is it enables the business to do upselling. If you give me a thing, you're like, hey, I need this done. Okay, what does it do? What do you need it to do? What is its purpose? And we can look at ways that we can, rather than just solving exactly what they want, solve what they're actually wanting. Because a lot of times people don't see outside of their bubble, so they don't notice some of the things that they're missing, right? So if you buy an Ultimaker that's RFQ, they might send you something that has extra nozzles, filament, cleaning supplies, things that you wouldn't normally buy if you were just clicking buy on a 3D printer. There are reasons that RFQ exists, and that's often to make sure that you're supplying a solution rather than just a product. And that's where we always say that we are professional solutions providers. What we do is unique for every single person. And it's why we will not, well, we don't, and I don't think I ever will, have an auto quoter on our website. If you are trying to find whoever's the cheapest, it's not us. I don't want to waste my time doing it. Go find somebody else. And if that is what tells you I don't want to work with them, great. You're probably not the right customer for us anyways.
Also, auto quoters just kind of suck. Like,
Polar Filament has a very good one. It's very good. But the problem is, like, government doesn't...
It doesn't have the human element.
But government doesn't pay what normal people do. And even further, if you tell me that you need something smooth, but the auto quoter is only for FDM, or it's got all these other options and you don't know what they are, there's all this extra education that we have to do, where if you just explain your project to me or anybody on the team, we can give you the solution to your problem without you ever having to make a decision. We tell you what the best way to do it is, and then you decide whether or not we are the company that you want to work for. Simple as that.
I mean, and for anyone out there who is actually kind of interested in the pricing structure for defense,
add a zero.
I just did a free print job. Well, not even that. I just did a free print job for someone just because they really needed it, and the favor was worth more than the money. I turned £30 worth of filament into about £10,000 worth of product.
I mean, that's
military.
It is not unreasonable to see thousands of a % profit margin in B2G. And that's why it is so difficult to breach that community, because they are very hesitant. I will tell you right now.
I've also found they're very people focused.
Yes.
Your job doesn't matter. You have to matter. And you have to be the communication. They love talking to people.
They're people focused, but they're also solutions driven, right? The goal of government is to empower and protect the warfighter. They want to add as much multimodal capabilities as possible to the warfighter.
Look, you're using the big words.
Yes, it's the government words, right? They want to protect the warfighter. They don't care what it takes. They want to make sure that they don't have to do more knocks on doors with folded flags. That is their entire job, is to make sure that more of the people that are fighting for whatever the hell they're fighting for are coming home safely. And they don't necessarily care what that stuff costs. And that's why you see like exorbitant spending in defense. And a lot of it is complete and utter bullshit, like the $500 coffee cups, the $1,000 soap dispensers. And that's often because of nepotism, backhand deals, things like that, back alley deals. So a lot of that is kind of, but at the same time, if you're providing a solution, charge what is willing to be paid. If someone is willing to pay you $10,000 for a solution and it's only $100 in filament, why, as a for-profit business, would you tell them, well, I mean, it's only $100 worth of material. I would do it for $200. They're going to say you're too cheap. There's also these budget requirements, and if they don't use it, they lose it. And it's stupid because if they don't run a budget, if they're not at least hitting what the budget is or going over it, they get less money the next year. It's like, no, you should reward me by coming in under budget, not punish me. And so you see, especially toward the end of the fiscal year for them, they go into this heavy amount of just useless spending. Schools do it too. You'll see schools pick up 3D printers at the end of the school year. That's normally when they're buying machines because they have budget left over. And they don't care where they go. They just need to spend the money because if they don't, it comes out of the budget next year. And it's like, well, Jesus, that's stupid. If you want to be a low-cost provider, fine, be a low-cost provider. But you need to be specific in not being too low cost. I've told the story before, so I'll tell it again. I'll make it real fast, of the architect that we worked with that I wanted to. Now we were doing small buildings for them, and we did the first one. We gave him a bill for like $500, right? I was very happy with the price. We were making good money, and he sent it back and said, "Hey, I think you have an error on your invoice. I believe 1,500 is what it should be." And I call him. I'm like, No, we agreed to 500. He said, I know what we agreed to, but I'm used to paying like $2,500 to $4,000 for the work that you just did. So even at 1,500, you're still incredibly low. But this is just a lesson to help you understand the pricing of this industry. We are used to paying around $4,000 to $5,000 for a building of this caliber. So you better up your pricing. And so I just made an extra $1,000 for nothing. I didn't do any extra work, but we made extra $1,000. And that was the moment we decided we're going to move heavy into architecture. We joined the AIA. We became sponsors. We were an alliance member. We went to all their events. We, did lots of fun giveaway things. We always did custom stuff for them.
Somebody has to sit me down and force me to watch it.
We have to have like maybe we'll do a watch party next week or next Friday in the Discord, and we'll watch. Fun. I don't know how many of them, but we'll watch at least the first one. The first 3 Fast and Furiouses are at least the 3 good ones, in my opinion. But thankfully, I am half Cuban and I can use my outside voice because, like, you wouldn't be able to hear me otherwise. Everybody there was like, "Oh my god!" I'm like, "Yeah, this is the appetizer."